To whom it may concern, we all hold a little bit of energy within us that we can turn on an instant that can help us command attention. I learned this concept from a story, an antidote, so to speak, that I learned from an acquaintance of Marilyn Monroe, who when one day they were walking down the street in New York City, everyone was passing them by like nothing was out of the ordinary, so to speak. And in an instant, Marilyn asked her companion, if you want to see me transform into her. And in an instant, Marilyn began to turn heads, stop traffic, cause accidents. The type of thing that we as the public know Marilyn Monroe for. And what was that? The shift had to have been internal, some kind of energetic shift that she made that just somehow commanded attention. Now, obviously, we're not all Marilyn Monroe, especially a person like me as a man. I can't command that type of attention. Well, potentially I could. But what I'm trying to say is that it goes to prove one of the points that you'll read often in spirituality, how the internal world reflects in the external world, where how we feel about ourselves oftentimes is how we get treated by other people. That's why it's important to follow the maxim that many people say when they tell you not to let someone else dim your light. Because people dim your light as a way of disconnecting you from the power that you have inside. Oftentimes, many of us have the power, the ability to shift and shape the environments that we live in. But out of a need for control, or a need for assimilation, or a need to fit in, the people around us will try and make us not feel like we are who we are. That's why I love that saying that has become popular over the last year or so, where people say, I'm him, or I'm her. And often many of the super religious people will try and turn that into some form of blasphemy. But what it's actually saying is that I am reclaiming my power and refusing to move throughout the world as a victim. I'm refusing to move through the world like I'm in a boat without a paddle. We have the ability to steer ourselves in our own directions. And sometimes we may be feeling a little more reclusive. We may not want the attention that comes with the shining of our internal light. And that's fine. It's good that we're able to tap into it and tap out of it at will. But to pretend that we as human beings made in the image of God are devoid of this type of power is the true blasphemy. We can't always go through the world as some kind of victim. We have to understand that we do have that power to shift and shape our reality, and we should use it and tap into it, whether anyone else around us wants us to tap into it or not. Now, obviously, I use an extreme example with Marilyn Monroe. But on a lower level, as there's levels to anything, I think you, me, anybody else watching has the same ability. A more contemporary example that comes to mind for me is when, and I'll use women, and I'm not picking on women at all when I say this, but there are women who have a certain appeal that conventional wisdom says they shouldn't have. Meaning you may have a woman who may be a little heavy set, who may not fit into the conventional BMI standards of the world, but they carry themselves with such a confidence that they command the attention that is supposed to be reserved for the more conventionally beautiful women of the world. I've always thought that was magical. I've always thought it was magical how when I felt well about myself and I smiled and I went around and greeted everyone, how that feeling seemed to be contagious. It's the same thing in every aspect of your life. If you feel like a poor person, then you're going to attract the external reality that reflects and confirms that feeling that you hold inside. But when you feel rich, the opposite tends to happen. Now, you may not have a dime in your bank account, but you may realize that as you look around, you're supported by God, by the universe, by the world around you. Oftentimes, we have to just look towards having a place to stay, a warm bed, food to eat, a job that we can go to, and the promise that a paycheck is coming around the corner to make us feel like we're well taken care of. And that, my friend, starts from the inside. So before you go out here feeling discouraged about your external circumstances, before you go out here feeling like a victim, understand that the power is within you. There's a little bit of energy that reflects the state that you want to be in. And that little bit of energy is magnetic. That little bit of energy is powerful. And that little bit of energy will bring the external circumstances that you want to see in your life going forward. Even though this sounds cliche, you, my friend, have the power. Don't disconnect from it.